girls. I know you're going camping, but don't forget next week you've got your history paper due on Melvil Dewey, okay?
We won't, don't worry.
Can you believe Miss Sawyer picked Melvil Dewey as a topic for a history report?
Oh, I know. It's going to be very boring. It's going to be long. We'll make the most of it. At least we're going camping.
Woohoo, I'm so excited.
I know, so am I. It started, thank God.
Oh, finally. They really need to get it fixed.
Yeah, we do.
Annie, I thought you knew where the campsite was.
You're the one manning the GPS.
You know we're lost, right?
Could this get any worse?
Do you hear that? Stop the truck. Is that rain?
There's not a cloud in the Whoa.
Ow. It's weird.
I'll say. What? No signal?
No power.
Well, I guess we walk.
Diva. Geek.
Are you young ladies lost?
Yes, sir. Can we use a phone to call the mechanic?
I'll come right down. You were saying something about needing a mechanic?
Yes, our truck broke down out in the scrub. We would like to use your phone to call a mechanic.
Well, the only mechanic in town is at Captain Webb's station in town, but it's a far piece away.
Well, does anybody around here have a cell phone we could use to call our parents?
Now, you girls should know that no one has a direct line to the marshal's office. Even I'm not important enough to have that luxury. Oh, excuse me, where are my manners? I'm Melvil Dewey, owner of this fine establishment. Just about time for lunch. Are you girls hungry?
I could eat.
Well, fine, let's go in and see what's on the menu. We'll just have today's special. You're gonna really like the food here at my little lodge. You're not dressed anything like my guests, so surely you must be from town. So your truck broke down out in the scrub.
Yes, sir. We were hoping to get a mechanic out there to look at it.
I think we can take care of that. But I think it's going to take some time because mechanic is going to be coming all the way from town.
We're writing a paper about you.
A paper? I'm glad the newspapers finally realize what I'm trying to accomplish. Take care of this right away for me, and have my chauffeur bring my Packard around front. We need salt. Gotta get salt, I'll be right back.
He's Melvil Dewey.
The actual Melvil Dewey.
Oh, here he comes.
You were saying something about a paper.
Yes, sir. We'd like to know how you chose this area to build your lodge.
Well, I would say the doctor chose this area. Shortly after I founded the Lake Placid Club in New York, I found myself in ill health.
But what made you choose Lake Placid to build your lodge? Why not somewhere else in Florida?
I had looked all over southern Florida for the perfect spot. Then one day at a party, I met a man who today is my friend, Walter Coachman, Vice President of Consolidated Naval Store and President of Consolidated Land Company. He gave me 3,000 acres to get started.
It sounds like you didn't need any convincing.
It was the land that convinced me. Beautiful hills all over, freshwater lakes, bathing, sailing, boating all year long, and the soil. The soil here is so rich that I know I could plant anything and it would grow. We grow all our vegetables here, including those fine tomatoes on your plate. Our citrus is fresh from our trees. No one here eats from a can. Whoops, I almost forgot my hat. Might have disappeared again. Let's go into town where I'll show you the rest of the Lake Placid clubs in the Seven Lakes Resort. This is Live Oak, where we house our guest drivers and the help that works in the lodge.
Where are we going?
I have to stop and pick up a package that's coming in on the 4 o'clock train. That'll give me a chance to show you the rest of the town.
Dr. Dewey, what kinds of things did you do as a child that prepared you to become a librarian?
Oh, man, I had a voracious appetite for knowledge and reform. I remember I cataloged my mother's pantry so that items could be found and reordered more efficiently. Then I studied shoemaking and bookkeeping to help my father's store to be more productive. I was an educator at 17. I attended Amherst College in Massachusetts.
So, how did you create the decimal system?
Oh, it's actually an interesting story. I had been working on my decimal system for quite some time, but there were portions of it I just couldn't quite get while attending a church service at Amherst. The solution just popped into my head. I nearly jumped out of my seat and shouted, "Eureka!" I was hired by Amherst College to manage their library and installed my system there. I published the decimal system in 1876. It's even here in Lake Placid. Funny how things happen, isn't it?
What do you mean?
You know, I was just thinking about the series of events that brought us here. Right before I received my master's degree from Amherst, a fire broke out in the library building, and I spent so much time saving all the books that I inhaled lots of smoke. As a result, I developed a nasty, persistent cough. It's not as bad these days, but I never would have come to Florida if my doctor hadn't suggested it. In turn, I never would have built the little lodge or met you girls. This is the depot my wife and I designed. I finally convinced the Atlantic Coastline Railroad to put in a full stop here in Lake Placid.
Ready for the big doings tomorrow? What, didn't you know? This man has done so much for this town. They're throwing a birthday party for him.
Oh, my 80th, it was supposed to be a surprise.
I'd like to stay and see it, but I gotta get the old lady here down to the Keys and...
What's wrong?
Oh, it's just my old rheumatism acting up. And you know what that means.
What?
Rain!
Mr. Dewey, we really need to get back to the lodge.
That's right, we really need to get going.
This is important. It's an album of letters from my friends in Lake Placid, New York. It also has the Dewey family crest. Well, it looks like quite the storm. We better be getting inside.
Mr. Dewey, we really need to get back to our chapter.
What about the story?
Oh, don't worry, it'll practically write itself. Are we back?
Emily, thank God. I've been trying to get a hold of you for hours. Where were you?
Sorry, Mom. We didn't have our cell phones where we went, but you'll never believe it.
As we come to the close of this 85th Years Festival, and we've celebrated the changing of the town charter from Lake Stearns to Lake Placid, I'd like to add a personal note. You've no doubt heard about Melvil Dewey as you walked around town. He's well known as the librarian, who not only created the Dewey Decimal System, but has helped to make our unique town the way it is today. Even now, Dewey's Little Lodge is usually full of guests. It's now known as the Lake Placid Conference Center. His former train station, where we are gathered here today, is now the site of our own Lake Placid Historical Society Depot Museum. Here in our hometown of Lake Placid, Melvil Dewey showed his pioneering spirit and dedication as a reformer in many ways. We have built on his dreams to make this town what it is today. Those words came from a history paper written by two of my students. They took what would have normally been a simple page in history and turned it into something exciting and imaginary. I'd like you to give a big hand to Annie Price and Emily Stewart. You girls did such a great job on the report that you had me actually believing that you had actually met the guy.